Hospitality Suite in the Stephen Wood press box here at the 6. And I have with me Cumberland new head baseball coach Alan Balmer from Lewiston, Idaho. Coach Balmer, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about a lot of stuff here in this interview and just kind of let people get to know you. But before we talk about how you got here and how this job came about, I want to take you back to 2006. In 2006, your team that you played for and ended up coaching for, Lewis Clark State University, defeated our team, the Cumberland then Bulldogs, 5-4 in the national championship game in 2006. You were the most valuable player of that World Series. And I think one of the coolest things about this whole story is the night you accepted the job, Coach Woody Hunt called me and told me about it, very excited. And he said who you were, and he said this guy was playing third base. We had runners on first and second with 2 outs. In the final inning, Woody Hunt's coaching third base, and he said, Randy, I remember it like it was yesterday. I could see it in my mind's eye, the ground ball coming to the third baseman, Balmer, and he came right toward me to step on the bag to end the game, and he said, it's in my mind as vivid as it can be, and now that guy is leading our program. Kind of a full circle moment. Tell us your memories of that 2006 World Series at defeating Cumberland.
It was probably the most intense game I've ever been involved in. Went into 11 innings. It was a dogfight, and they were a really good team, man. They could really hit, and we kind of held them at bay a little bit, but we made a couple nice defensive plays that kept us in the game. And I can still remember that ground ball coming to me. I can still see it bouncing. And, you know, it was one of the better moments of my life. My life probably wouldn't be the same if we didn't win that game. But, no, it's something I never forget, and I can remember like yesterday and competing against Woody and Cumberland over the years. It's always been a pleasure. I mean, it's always been a great program, and I've always enjoyed competing. And once I had the opportunity to be here, I couldn't say no.
Of course, there was no way that anybody, Coach Woody Hunt, you, anybody else, could have possibly envisioned that 20 years later, here you are, or almost 20 years later, 19 and a half years later, here you are leading this program. No way anybody could have, that would not have been on anybody's bingo card.
I don't think it, yeah. I mean, I had no idea until, when they called me. I mean, that's the first time I've ever really even thought about it, to be honest with you. And it was a big surprise to me, but I'm glad they called.
Well, and we are too. And another funny thing about it, the guy who hit that ground ball, Nolan McHugh, who's a good friend of mine, All-American catcher on that team, he called me that same night when he found out you were getting the job, and he was excited, and he gave you the biggest compliment you can give a baseball player, and a lot of people aren't going to understand this, but he called you a dirt bag. but that's a compliment, is it not?
It is. I mean, if you understand what it means, yeah. And that's kind of the mentality I grew up in at Lewis Clark State. That's what Coach Sheff was, made his players play like. We always had to play hard, play the game the right way, and that's something that hopefully I can instill here and teach those guys that mentality and create that so that they can call us dirtbags.
Yeah, that's right. A dirtbag is a good name for a baseball player. Maybe not a human being in general, but for a baseball player, that's a good name. So tell us how it came about that you got to be sitting right here with me today. Take us through that.
I think it was Wednesday, September 17th. I looked back on a text when someone asked me that. I had a text when I was coming out of practice from Randy Stagel and saying that he had a couple questions for me. And
Randy Stagel being a former player here and a former coach here.
Yeah, and a coach at Emory Riddle where I got to know him. We played against him a lot and had good battles, and he was always fun team to play against and fun coach to coach against. And so he had some questions for me, and I thought it was kind of weird, so I kind of asked Jeremiah, the coach at LC, like, did Randy reach out to you? And he's like, no. And I was kind of like thinking about it, and like, what could it be? And I was like, nah, no way. I didn't think that would be it. But
you knew the Cumberland job was open?
Yeah, well, I kind of knew it was open, but I knew that they put Woody back as the intern, and I thought he was kind of trying to do the whole year, so I didn't even think about it much. And then I was like, no way. So when I got home, and I was just kind of sitting there, and I texted him back, and I said, yeah, I'm open. Call me anytime. And he's like, well, I'm at a volleyball game. I'll call you a little later. And then when he called and asked if I was interested, I was like, oh, yeah, of course I would be. I'd love to listen to what you guys have. And then the next day, Woody called in the morning after he talked to Jeremiah, the head coach at LC, and then I talked to Coach Pavin, and he asked me if I wanted to come out for an interview, and I said sure, and he asked when I can be here, and I said I could probably be there tomorrow. And jumped on a plane on Thursday at 2 o'clock in Lewiston, and I was here by 10, and then got up in the morning, and here I was at 9:30 in the morning meeting with Ron and Woody, and went around school with Ron for the day and had lunch. And when I got back from lunch, he's like, "Well, I like you. You want the job?" I was like, "Yeah, I do, but I got to talk to my wife." And so I called my wife and told her and said I couldn't pass it up. And I said yes. So here I am.
You had never been here before. You'd never seen the campus, the
No.
ball field, or anything. But you told me you do have kinfolks in Nashville.
Yeah, my cousin played at Linscomb University, and he never left here. He lives out in Brentwood, and so
at least there's one familiar face.
Yeah, there's one familiar face, and starting to be a lot more.
Well, you're gonna have a lot of friends here pretty soon. And speaking of Randy Stiegel, that leads me to my next point that I want to talk to you about. You and I have talked before about the alumni base, former Cumberland baseball players. There are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of guys who aren't from here, who came here and stayed and have never left. And they care deeply about this program. And that's what happens when you have one coach who coached here for 40 plus years, then he leaves and his son takes over and coaches 4 years. So you have a common thread. That thread is no longer, there's not a hunt on the coaching staff for the first time since 1978, I guess, or 79. But the alumni are a huge, huge part of this program. Give us your thoughts on that, and here's your chance to address the alumni and say whatever you'd like to say, and just tell us your thoughts on all that.
You know, where I came from is not much different. There's a lot of guys that came to Lewiston and never left.
And you had a coach, Ed Sheff, that was there
forever. And he created the same atmosphere with alumni, and guys care deeply about the program. And that was one of another reasons why I was so excited to take this job is alumni base and how much they do care about the program. That's where I want to be. I mean, I want people to care about the program. I want the pressure for it to be good. If you don't have that, I don't know, it'd be hard to run the program. So, I mean, they're going to be a huge part of it moving forward. And I'd like to build relationship with alumni. And I mean, I already see them coming around, watching practice and doing things, and I love that. I mean, they built the program. I mean, the players built the program. I know Coach Hunt built it, but he couldn't have done it without their help. I mean,
sure.
Good players make you a good coach. So I'm excited to keep those traditions going, and the things that worked and that mean a lot to people. I'd like to keep those going here, and I need their help to do that. So I'm excited to do that.
I've had several alumni ask me, "Well, you think I should stop by there and meet the new coach?" What's your answer to that?
I'd love them. I love them to come to practice. I want them to show them what we're doing and be transparent with them and show them that we do care about the program. We're moving forward. It might not be quite the same, but we are passionate about it, and we want to build a successful program moving forward that has success.
And you know, when I interviewed Ryan Hunt when Woody retired and Rhino was taken over, and I asked him, "Are you going to do things exactly like your dad?" And I thought he had a great answer that I still remember. And his answer was, "I'm going to use the same blueprint, but it's not going to be exactly the same." And I thought, well, that's a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, success leaves clues.
Yes.
And you wouldn't be very smart to follow those things that worked. So, I mean, all good coaches have things in common, and you try to do those things as a coach because you know they work. And if you thought you could do them a whole lot different, you're probably not going to have success. And it's nice to have Woody around still because, I mean, I'd learn something every day when he talks to me. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's always good to have that. And like Ryan said, the blueprint works, but you still have to be yourself.
Yes.
And you got to do things the way that you think are the right way. And because if you didn't do that, then you're not who you are, and it's hard to lead people when you're not being yourself.
Exactly. We're speaking with Cumberland's new head baseball coach, Alan Balmer from Lewiston, Idaho, formerly of Lewis Clark State, and visited with us here on the program. You brought two coaches with you from Lewis Clark that you had coached with up there, and you've got three volunteer assistants, former Cumberland players, two that played last year, Carter Rost and Preston Welchel, and then one that played a few years ago, Cole Turney, that's going to be helping you on a volunteer basis. But you brought two guys with you from Idaho. Tell our listeners who they are and a little bit about those and what their responsibilities and their duties will be.
The first guy I brought in is Anthony Balderas. He's going to be my pitching coach. He's probably the most important hire I had. I don't know who I'd hire if he didn't come with me, but I coached Anthony for 2 years, 16 and 17, where he won 2 national titles at Lewis Clark State College. And then since he quit playing, he's been the pitching coach at LC. He got thrown into it young. So he's had a lot of good experience in that department. and he's kind of my right-hand man, someone I can trust, lean on, and he's just not a coach, he's a friend, so one of my best friends. So it's nice to have him here to help out, and he does a really good job with the pitchers, and he creates quite the mentality on the mound that we're excited for. And then the next guy I brought in is a young guy who just had to hang him up playing baseball because of an injury, but his name's Brewer Webster. He's from Idaho Falls. He played for me as a freshman when he redshirted, and then he went back to junior college for 2 years at Salt Lake City. And then after that, he got a scholarship to play at Utah University for 2 years. And then he tried to take advantage of that 6 year, come back and play for us at the NAI level. But he got hurt last year, and he tried to come back and play through the injury, but it just didn't work out. But he'll be running the infielders for the most part, helping with that. And he's a really good. He'll be teaching the base running and doing some other things. But I'm excited to have him. He's one of the better infielders I've ever coached. So he knows what he's doing out there, and he had quite the mentality. He played really hard, and he has that mentality that we're looking forward to instill in our guys, and we're excited to have him.
And you told me that you will be basically your own hitting coach. You will be in charge of the hitters more or less.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be in charge of that for the most part, and there'll be other guys helping out. But that's going to be my job.
Yeah, and will the three Cumberland volunteer guys? I don't think Cole Turney won't be with you through the season. He'll be playing minor league ball. But Preston and Carter Ross and Preston Wilson, will they be with you through the season?
As of
and
right
Antonio
now,
Costas,
and Antonio for sure. He's been a great help. He's shown me a lot of things doing around here. He's doing a really good job with that JV team. Preston and Carter will be around. They're going to school, but they'll be around for most of the year. As of right now, things can change, but they've been great help. They've kind of showed us some of the things that you wouldn't find out on your own while you're here. But excited to have those guys around.
Let's talk about recruiting. That's the most important thing. I don't care what sport it is. The teams with the best players usually win.
Yes, they do.
And you have a lot of. You've been a coach at the NAI level for 17 years, and you play at the NAI level. You know the level. You know what it takes. Talk about that and some of your recruiting contacts and Lewis and Clark players. I mean, they recruit nationally just like we do.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you still had a lot of players from out west.
I bet 95% of our players are from the West Coast out there. It seems like the West Coast guys will come this way more than those guys will go back towards the West Coast, which I understand, especially when you get out here and you see how nice weather is and all that. So I'm excited to recruit here. I do have a lot of connections in the West with scouts and coaches, and so I'll definitely bring some of those players in. But I'm excited to reach out and start to get to know some new coaches out here in the Tennessee area, and I have really good connections down in Texas, so that'll help with some scouts that played at LC. He's been down there, so he's going to help out a lot. And I'm excited to actually be able to recruit those guys because they wouldn't come back to the West very often. So excited to see if I can get down in there and get some players out of there. But we want to get them wherever we can. I mean, we try to go get the best player wherever they may be, and we're going to work at it. I know that, and we'll see how it goes. But I mean, the NEI thing is. It's always been a little later in the recruiting process because you kind of weed themselves through the D1s and all that other stuff. So usually end up with your best players later in the summer, and I don't see that changing. And usually it's 5-6 teams after those players, and I'm sure it'll be the same 5 teams that I've always recruited against, so the Gwinnett's and the Tennessee Wesleyan, all those guys, Shreveport, all those guys. You end up with recruiting battles. I'm sure that won't change.
Yeah, and we want to be one of those 5 schools.
Yes.
Let's talk baseball philosophy. I don't know if you know that through the years, a lot of time Cumberland has sort of been nicknamed Lumberland because Coach Woody Hunt and even Rhino, we like the long ball. Who doesn't, of course?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess my question to you is like Coach Woody Hunt, some of the things he was known for. The delayed steal was a big part of his offense. The first and third on ground ball singles, part of his offense. He liked to have power at the leadoff spot when possible. He liked to have a good hitter in the 9-hole. All these things that you can do when you have good players, but just from your standpoint of philosophy, are you a kind of guy that's a Whitey Herzog type? Let's manufacture run, steal bases, bunt, all that, or you're a swing away guy?
We're going to swing the bat. I won't change that much. I know to win in May in Lewis and Idaho, you have to be able to hit some home runs and swing the bat, hit some doubles, and we're going to try to do the same thing there. I'm going to look for big physical guys that can put the ball out of the ballpark. That's not going to change at all. For the first and third, we're always going to be aggressive on the base pass. I mean, that's invariable. We probably won't steal too much because when you get to the playoffs and you start playing good teams, they usually have a pretty good catcher and they're pretty good about holding runners. So it's really, you have to really be a burner to steal bases when it matters. So you might only have one or two guys that can do that each year. But we're going to be aggressive when we can in dirt ball reads, which the turf kind of kills some things around here, makes it pretty easy for that catcher. But we're going to be aggressive in dirt ball reads, we're going to be aggressive taking the extra base, and we're always going to be looking to do that. But with the way we're going to hit the baseball, we won't change that much. We're going to be looking to hit the ball of the yard and hit some doubles.
Well, I know our fans, our longtime fans, like that answer.
Yes.
We're talking with new Cumberland head baseball coach Alan Balmer. Tell us about the players that you inherited. Now we lost a lot of guys, but we were a good team last year.
Yep.
I mean, we won the Mid-South Conference Tournament Championship, made the playoffs. We returned, I know at least a couple of all-conference players, and Wilser 10 and Dylan LaRue. But we lost a lot of guys. Tell us what are your thoughts, your impressions of, you didn't recruit these guys. Coach Ryan Hunt and his previous staff, Pat Bell and Daniel Barato, recruited these guys. Tell us your impressions of the team you have inherited so far.
I'm excited for it. I mean, there's some good returners. Like you said, Dylan LaRue might be the best catcher in the nation. He's sounds like he put on some weight. And
he looks a little bigger, yeah.
And he's put on quite the show this fall, so I'm excited to see what he does. And there's some other players that they brought in, like the Gabriel Reyes kid at shortstop. I'm excited to see what he does. So we got some exciting players. It's going to be a good team. They did a really good job recruiting. Only seen the pitchers throw a few times. I know we're probably a little thin there. Trying to add a couple guys at the break, just numbers wise. And I know one of the left-handers they brought in, Aiden Mott's, got hurt. We don't know if he'll be able to pitch this season. He was supposed to be a big addition.
He hurt his knee, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a few holes there we need to replace. But there should be guys at the break, especially with the portal. So hopefully we can add a couple pitchers, and we had a catcher leave the program, so we're pretty thin at catching. Dylan's kind of a one-man show right now. Brought a kid up from the JV team that's helped out a lot, who actually has a chance to play here in the next couple of years. And Wilser had to go back there and catch a couple days. But so we're looking for a catcher. Just, I mean, if something happened, knock on wood, but
yeah,
it's hard to play the year with one catcher. So
sure, oh yeah,
we're gonna have to recruit a catcher at break.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm really excited for this team and the pitching staff with Coach Balderas getting here a little late, starting to make progress. So I'm excited to see what they do.
We only have a minute or two left. Tell us a little bit about your family. I know they're not here yet.
No, yeah, they're back home in Lewiston right now. They're going to finish out school, which is it's hard, but we're making it work. I have 4 kids. One kid's already out of school. He's 19, Brody, and then I have a 17-year-old girl who's playing volleyball right now. So I'm watching that on TV at night, but it's we're making it work. And then I have 2 youngers that are 7 and 5, Reese and Cole, and we're busy. And my wife Jenny's doing it.
She's real busy right now.
Yeah, bless her heart, man. She's back home taking care of them, and it's been hard, but we're making it work.
And you said they're coming down here in a week or so. We're recording this October 21st, 2025,
yeah.
By the way. They'll be come down for a visit, but they'll stay there through the school year before they join you permanently, correct?
Yes. And then hopefully here next weekend, my daughter Avery makes it to state, so try to sneak down there for a couple days and watch the state tournament.
All right. Just half a minute left, Coach. Your final word.
I know, like I said, we're really excited to be here, coach and staff. You're not always that lucky to take over a program with this much success. So, I mean, like you said, there's a blueprint here, and we're excited just to keep it moving forward, and excited to get to meet all the new people out there, alumni and fans, and it's been a pleasure to be here, and hopefully it stays that way moving forward if we win some baseball games. But no, we're excited.
All right, been talking with head coach Alan Balmer. Thank you very much, Coach.